It's story time! So, this story is about duendes, and this is when I was living on Guam as a child. Growing up on Guam, I heard a lot of stories, a lot of legends, but this one's about duendes. So, I heard this story from my kindergarten teacher, and it goes something like this: a mom and a dad, and a little baby, a little beautiful baby boy, was going out into the jungle. I don't know why, but sorry. I don't know why they're going in the jungle. It's very dangerous there. But anyways, they went in the jungle and they set up a little nice picnic, with like sandwiches and barbecue and just fruits, stuff to eat. But they had a problem with their child. Their kid didn't like eating anything. The kid kept saying, "No, I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat." So the parents kind of gave up and they're like, "Hey, you want to go for a walk?" And the baby's like, "Okay, let's go." So the baby, the mom, the dad went out for a little stroll. And after a while, the baby wandered off by himself and, bada bing, bada boom, the baby got lost in the jungle and it was almost getting dark. And then the baby sat down in front of this huge Tautamona tree. Wow, what a coincidence. If you guys didn't listen to my last story, I do talk about the Tautamona tree. So, anyways, back to the story. The baby sat in front of the Tautamona tree and he looked up at the sky and saw that it was getting dark. He cried and cried for his mom and his dad, but nobody came. And you know how babies are. When they cry and cry, what do? They sleep. So he slept for a long time. And after a while, he woke up and it was dark. There was no light except for the moon and a little bit of stars, but not that much light. All of a sudden, he heard a laugh and went something like this. And the baby was really scared. He was like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" He looked around, he turned his head to the left, to the right, and he was getting really, really frightened. And he didn't know what to do. He was shaking. Well, he was shaking because it was kind of cold and all he had was a shirt and his diapers on. And so he looked around again and he tried to squint his eyes to see if, his eyes were playing tricks on him, but he knew what he saw. He saw these little tiny people that kind of looked like fairies, and they're dancing around, and they came in all sorts of colors. One was white, one was blue, one was purple, one was red, and another one was green, yellow, and black. And they're so tiny, but not like super tiny. Okay, they're maybe like a foot tall. Okay, that's small. But they went up to him and they started poking the baby, and then they're laughing and whispering something to each other. And then they looked at the baby again and they just stared at the baby, staring at him. And then they laughed again. And then they decided to feed him. Wow, that's kind of weird, right? But, to my surprise, the baby began to eat. They fed him star fruits, they fed him mangoes and bananas, everything that the jungle provides. So he started eating it. He started chowing down. And of course, the next day, when the baby woke up, the duendes were no longer there. But he gained a lot of weight. Like, he went from scrawny little malnutrition child to this really round, chubby kid. And when the police found him, they asked the parents, "Is this your child?" And the parents are like looking at him and they're like not sure if the baby was theirs. But uh, they took him to the hospital and checked his, his identification and his blood work and all that stuff. And then they're like, oh, that's our baby. And that's the end of the story. Some people think it's a real story and some people think it's just made up. But what do you think? You think it's a true story or do you think it's just made up? And do you believe in duendes or you think that's made up too? Tell me in the comments, and if you like this story, please like it. Thanks!